So we're getting ready to try to help out the whole driveline rattle that's on these, on the Max's 2021 Commander, Can-Am Commander. So the Maxes have them, the Mavericks, my understanding is, has them, all of them. Pretty much all of Can-Am's 4-doors, or 4-seaters, they have this driveline rattle. And Can-Am will tell you that they have no solution to it. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm getting ready to put a sancraft solid carrier bearing in this to try to help take some of this vibration out, which I don't think it's going to take all of it out, but I'm just hoping that it will help some. Here's what we got. So this is their solid mount bearing from Sancraft. This is for a, let me make sure I'm saying this right, a Maverick Sport 4-seater is what that's for, but it should be the same thing as what's on here. And the way I'll show you to find that, in case you're trying to get parts that cross over from one machine to the other, the best way to do it is right here. So go, let me turn that off. If you go to Can-Am, it's a parts house. I've got stuff in the way here. If you go and find their parts diagrams for the Commander Max, and then go to the Maverick Sport, their Max, the 4-seater, you can look at the parts dialogues and you can cross-reference your part numbers. So the carrier bearing on the Maverick Sport 4-seater is the exact same carrier bearing that's on the Commander Max. And you can do this with a lot of parts. There's a lot of stuff everybody's talking about not having it made for the Commander Max yet. Well, if it's made for the Maverick Sport, more than likely it'll fit. But just cross-reference your parts to make sure. It's the best way I've found. So I took this thing in to have warranty work done on that drive shaft. And this is the response that I got. Known issue with model. BRP is aware of the issue and working on correction. BRP advised noise will not cause any further damage to unit in case it's documented. So right as is. But it's driving me crazy, so I'm trying to, if I can fix it myself, then I'm just going to fix it. We're going to try this to start with, see what it does. But I'll go out here and start it. Alright, so you're probably not going to be able to hear me. I want to show you the noise that I'm talking about. This driveline is vibrating out. You can stop the noise by just putting your hand on it. It'll stop the vibration. This vibration is really bad. You can feel it all the way up into the carrier bearing. Yeah, it's a lot better if you can stop it back here. But there seems to be the best spot. Put a little bit of pressure. So we're going to put this solid carrier in here and hope that it works. Alright, so I got my old carrier bearing out. Here's the old one. I took the whole bracket out. I guess I should mention, I've got the Super ATV skid plate under here. So you can just take out the center section of it to get to your driveline. If you have the OEM skid plate, there's a good chance you'll have to take it off. I don't know that you can get in through the access is good enough to get it. You may be able to. Not 100% sure on that. But the way I've done it is with this. So to get this carrier bearing off, there's 4 13mm bolts. Take it off and it'll just slide down. And you also got to take this front shaft off, which you can't see. Up there's a bolt that goes through it. Just take the bolt nut off, slide it out, and it slid right off. It wasn't real hard to get off. And there's also a snap ring on the end of that shaft right there that holds that carrier bearing on. You take it off and then it just slid off too. It wasn't that tight of a fit. So pretty easy, not that big of a deal as long as you can get to it. I said, if you don't have an aftermarket skid plate on, your hardest part is probably going to be getting into it. But see about getting another one on. Oh. Also, I guess I could say, this carrier bearing's got two 15mm bolts on it to take off, be able to put the other one on. I'm getting ready to do that. Alright, so I've got the new style carrier bearing installed. There's two 15mm bolts you take out of the factory, and these are two 17mm bolts you put back in. They tell you the torque at 35 foot-pound. I put blue Loctite on it. And there is a brass, I'm assuming it's brass, but it's a golden look washer. It has a chamfer on the ID of it that's supposed to face the back of the vehicle. Pretty much what the chamfer is for, or I'm assuming what it's for. It's when they machine this surface, there's a little radius left, so they put a chamfer there. That way this will slide all the way up against it without hitting the radius first. And then they send you green Loctite to put on this bearing to put it up there. And the green Loctite is a bearing retainer Loctite. I'm a mechanic, well, I was a mechanic in the industrial field. I'm an electrician now. But we used to always use the green Loctite anytime we had a surface that was wore some and we didn't want it to spin. It is some very tough Loctite. My only fear with putting it on this is if I ever have to take this bearing off, it'll have to be heated. Because that green Loctite, that's the only way you can get it off. So I'm kind of got mixed feelings about putting the green Loctite on there. I probably will just a little bit, but if I ever take it off, more likely this bearing will have to be pulled out and then heated to melt the Loctite so it'll come off. But that's what they say to do, so that's what I'll do. And also this bracket, if you're looking at it, the short end of the bracket goes toward your passenger side. The long end's over here, and then your snap ring that's in the back of your bearing faces the back end whenever you slide it on, so it'll slide on like this. And then they send a little, like a keeper. It ain't a snap ring, but it's one of the little spring keepers, I think they call them. How to go in your old snap ring groove. But alright, get to that. Alright, so I got it back in, everything's bolted up. And just a note, leave these bolts out until you get this drive shaft back on your differential, because everything's got to slide backwards. And make sure your marks line back up. Put your bolt back in up there. But I can already tell, so this is a lot, like there's no slop down here now. There's still some back here because of the differential. So I'm sure I'm still going to get a little vibration, but I'm going to get ready to start it. Put it at the same about 4,400 RPM where it was at earlier, and see what it sounds like now. Hopefully that took some of it out to quieten it down some, but we'll see. Still there, but it is quieter. It ain't nothing like it was earlier. Still feel the vibration in it, but it ain't nothing like it was. A little bit now. Back to the roar that was there earlier. It ain't a complete fix. It's better. Alright, so that's pretty much it. I mean, it helped quite a bit. There's still a little bit of the vibration and the rattle there. I'm probably going to put some soundproofing, some sound deadening over this cross member, because it seems like it echoes off that little vibration does, just to see if that helps it any. But I mean, all this vibration is coming from the transmission motor, so as long as this has got play in it, you're going to have some type of vibration there. Don't really know anything else to do to get the sound out, unless you want the heavier drive shaft. That way it don't, like I said, I mean, you can hit it, it makes a noise, so that vibration just resonates down through it. But that is better. Hopefully it stays better. Only time will tell with that. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, you have to cut this piece of plastic here too, because it touches. You see where I was spinning it earlier before I cut it and it was touching it. That, and then I'm going to have to cut my bolts off, because if not, my skid plate, whenever it goes up, it's going to touch right there and be pushed down. But that's about it. Oh, my bad, it ain't about it. So if you're wondering, right there, let's see if I can get the light. That is what I bought, and that is, I did install that on a 2021 Can-Am Commander Max. It says it's for a 2017 to 2020 Can-Am X3. It will work. Now maybe I just need to get the light away. There we go. There you go.